Today marks the date, 40 years ago, that American researchers first described a mysterious illness in 5 gay men. It was an emerging epidemic that would come to be known as AIDS. John Blackstone has covered this story for CBS News since the 1980s, and he returns tonight.
In San Francisco this morning, a wreath was laid under the redwoods of the National AIDS Memorial, dedicated to the more than 700,000 Americans who have died from the disease.
Dick Pavish, Douglas Wright.
Names were read and others remembered on a new panel of the AIDS Memorial quilt. It's a project that started on sewing machines in San Francisco in 1985 to remember the first 1,000 who died, just the beginning of deaths in the city's Castro district.
The disease that has claimed so many lives here has also come to dominate the lives of many who are not infected. The doctors, nurses, and volunteers who've been caring for people since the mysterious virus first appeared.
Now take a big deep breath.
Back then, one of them was Dr. Lisa Capaldini.
When I worked with my first patient with AIDS, I went to sit at his bedside and to hold his hand. I thought, oh boy, is it okay to touch this man?
40 years ago, the newly identified disease didn't even have a name. It was called gay cancer.
And yet most of the country doesn't know about this cancer.
Why?
Well, I think it's because it's a gay cancer.
Larry Kramer was a founder of ACT UP, a group that used raucous tactics demanding faster development of drugs. Among the early researchers looking for both a cause and a cure was Dr. Anthony Fauci.
The plan is to put into clinical trials individuals who have full-blown AIDS.
But when the first drug, AZT, was approved in 1987, the demonstrations got louder because the drug cost so much.
At your dosage, it's probably going to cost you $10,000 a year.
At today's ceremony, the losses over 40 years were clear, but so were the gains. While there is still no cure, new treatments have made it possible to live with AIDS rather than just die with it.
John Blackstone joins us now from San Francisco. John, it's so great to see you. 40 years later, are you struck by any parallels as we live through a pandemic caused by a new virus?
Well, indeed, many things are the same, but one big difference is that unlike COVID, it took years for symptoms of AIDS to appear, which is why the virus spread so widely before it was first detected 40 years ago. Adriana?
John Blackstone in San Francisco, great to have you on the broadcast tonight.